and gentlemen, thank you so much. Thanks so much for being here, and thank you for your patience. My name is Murray Allen. I'm a certified credit consultant, and I'm with MCE Credit Empowerment. And we are here for another program of Sisters Deserve Their Credit. Why? Because they do. You know, we really appreciate the sisters what they've been doing for such a long time in terms of empowering their community with their knowledge and their spirit and the altruism of helping people in the community. You know, they are the leaders of the business entrepreneurship in America right now, and they're just just going leaps and bounds. And as I mentioned before, we really appreciate them and what they do. We have a very, very special guest today, Mrs. Vivian London Crooks. She is a tax preparer extraordinaire, and she has been doing taxes for many, many years, and we're excited to have her as one of our guests. But before that, we like to talk about a narrative of historical black women or women of color who've done some incredible things in the past historically that some of you may or may not know about, but I'm going to name one particular woman. Her name is Maggie Lena Walker. Okay, Maggie Lena Walker. She is a very, very special woman. As I mentioned before, some people may or may not know about her, but I dug her up, man, and I thought it was only befitting to have someone who deals in finance to correlate with our special guest today. So, Maggie Lena Walker, let's share some information about her. Now, she was an African-American entrepreneur and a civic leader who broke traditional gender and discriminatory laws by becoming the first black woman to establish and become president of a bank in the United States. The St. Luke Penny Savings Bank in Richmond, in her role as a Grand Secretary of the Independent Order of St. Luke, Walker was also indispensable in organizing a variety of enterprises and that of advanced African American community while expanding the public role of a woman. Although, as an African American woman in the post-Civil War South, she faced social, economic, and political barriers in her life and business venture. Walker, by encouraging investment and collective action, achieved tangible improvements for African Americans. So, blessings and appreciation for her and what she's done as a trailblazer. Again, guys, her name is Maggie Lena Walker, the first African American female to not only own a bank but also become the president of the bank as well. So, blessings and appreciation to her and stuff. And again, we're here at Sisters Deserve Their Credit, leading the charge in entrepreneurship. We give appreciation, thanks, and honor to the sisters who are doing things not only in their business alone, but also in the business community as well. So we appreciate that. So now, with that being said, we are going to introduce a very good friend of mine. She has been in the tax business for many, many years. We're here in Mount Vernon right now. Actually, we're in Mount Vernon, okay, at the Roosevelt Professional Building. And she has been doing such a great job in the community. She's well respected and extremely intellectually sound when it comes to taxes, okay? And we're talking about all areas of taxes. So we are here, and we are honored to have her here today. We appreciate you, Ms. Vivian London Crooks. You are certainly special to us, and thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Pleasure to be here.
Well, just tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of your background. I mean, I saw your bio, and I was like, man, she's got so much amazing things that she's done, so much accolades, so much credibility. I said, you know what, I probably take like about 20 minutes to cover it all. So if you can just surmise and just kind of, give us an insight in terms of your beginning stages and how you got involved in
Sure. It's a long journey, but I must say I don't have much time, so I'll cut it down. I grew up in the Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands, namely St. Thomas, and the background that I had with finance wasn't a wide variety, but I took an accounting class in the 10th grade. and that just sparked my interest. It wasn't regular math. It was math that makes sense. It's like when I go to the store and I spend $1 and something costs 50 cents, I'm gonna get back 50 cents change. So it was like practical math. So that is what really drew me. And I went further to get my bachelor's in accounting. And then when I started working for a Japanese bank in the controller's department, I said, you know what? My interest was piqued in knowing how the economy works, especially here in the United States.
Yes.
Because I said, there has to be more than just people working a 9 to 5.
Right.
And not really getting anywhere, especially people of color. So I went and I got my master's in finance. So from that, over the years, I've been doing my tax practice part-time. So when I had that in adjacent to my regular job. And after being exposed to how the economy works in America, I said, no, I have to make a change. I have to make a change to help others, not only for myself, but be an example, because I can't be preaching something and I'm not doing it.
Right.
So that what caused me to go into going on my own.
That's fantastic.
4 years ago.
So you in essence you kind of knew in the beginning that numbers were sort of your thing, right?
Yes.
I mean, like you just loved the way numbers ran. Me, I ran away from numbers when I was younger. Math, oh my God. I knew when I got $10 and $5, I knew I was supposed to get back change. I didn't know how much. All I knew is I could purchase things with the money that I had. But again, yeah, math was never really my thing. I was always intimidated by that. So I think that those who are in the financial field, I think and you just confirmed it with me that in the beginning stages, it's kind of something that has kind of resonated with you ever since you were young, which is pretty cool actually. I just have a number of questions I'd like to ask you. Okay.
Sure.
My first question is, tell us about the company and the services you provide.
Okay, so London Tax Services, we provide mainly 2 services: tax preparation services for individuals and small businesses, and also we provide bookkeeping for small businesses. So what I have realized over the past few years, because I always did taxes. Taxes was basically my main, service. But what I've realized that when I see people come to me to get their taxes done, their books is all screwed up. And I'm saying, you have to give me a P&L in order for me to prepare your taxes.
And
they're
P&L
like,
stands for
profit and loss. And that's what I was just about to say. They'll be like, what's that? What is a P&L?
Okay.
It's a profit and loss statement. So basically what that is it tells you what your total income that you have received for the year, less all of your expenses by category. And a lot of small businesses, they have no clue, they have no idea, they don't know where to begin. So I started to provide that service to help the small business community. I actually have, for those who who can do it for themselves, I created a system called the Bookkeeper in a Box.
Oh, wow.
So that is basically, it's an Excel template and where you can track each month your expenses.
You created that?
Yes,
That's
yes.
incredible.
And their income. So at the end of the year, everything is, driven to a summary page which gives them what their profit and loss is for the whole year.
That is awesome.
So, because I saw the need and
Yes.
it's like, so I have a few clients that use it, and for those who after a while they expand, then they can go to the softwares of QuickBooks or FreshBooks or whatever,
So
that
it's
they
sort of like an intermediate or a
Yes, it's a beginning template for those who have no idea how to.
That's a good point, because I think most people, well, not most people, in your experience, I'm sure, and I've dealt with business people as well, pretty much intimidated, or if they don't have the time, the wherewithal to really do those things. And quite frankly, it's a situation where they're really kind of hurting themselves in that respect, because when it's time to do the taxes, and they come with these boxes, maybe some cases suitcases, and say, hey, okay, this is what you're like, oh no, this is gonna take a lot longer.
And I charge it more too when I have to do that. So being organized is crucial, especially from the finance side when it comes to small businesses. What I find is that a lot of small businesses, they specialize in their talent. So whether they're cooking, they're a chef, or they're doing hair, or they're a mechanic, or whatever that they that's what their passion is. So keeping the book straight is not important to them because half of the times they don't even know what they're doing.
Okay.
So that's where I come in to give them the advice, give them direction. So I usually give my clients the option: do you want me to help you to keep it on track, or if you want to do it for yourself, then I give you a template so you can do it yourself. So I give, I like to give people the options, which one works better for them.
That's wonderful. That's really, really wonderful, and that's why we appreciate you so much. You come up with these innovative things to help the layman. And you give them an option. You say, now, do you want me to do it while we're staring at those big boxes, or do you want to do it yourself?
Exactly.
At least you give them an option, and that is what I think we need, in particular in our community, to be able to have more sagacity, better judgment of what they should do, what they shouldn't do in terms of delaying the process of actually getting those taxes in order, so that later on they don't get affected by it. Because if you don't have, I believe if you don't have the numbers in there correctly and that they do an audit, then you're really going to be in a quagmire.
Absolutely, and I'm going to stress that because of the tax classes that I take with New York State and the federal, because we have to do CPE credits every year. That's one of the things that they like the foremost and forefront, your record keeping. Because you can tell me anything, but I usually have them, even if it's an Excel document, that's what they give me. And I say to my clients, as long as you have the backup, the support for these numbers, you don't have to show me. But if you get audited, you have to show it to the IRS. So if anything that's fuzzy on your tax return, those numbers need to be supported. And I drill that till I'm like turning blue. Because I've seen where clients, they have lost, they had to return money to the IRS because they couldn't support the numbers.
That's something. That's amazing.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
What I usually do, I advise them that there's something called tax planning, where you're a step ahead.
Yes.
So that at the end, you kind of help minimize your tax liability if you end up owing taxes. And there's ways to work around that. So you're not giving the government half your money. So it's called tax planning.
Guys, take notes. Tax planning, okay? As a matter of fact, I'll give you a couple of seconds to get yourself a pen and pad, because as you know, she's really giving some really important information. Take some copious notes, okay? And we're here at blackstream.live right now, and we are streaming live with Vivian London Crooks, who is a tax expert extraordinaire. All right? And I have another question for you, Vivian. What made you leave your job?
Okay, so it was by divine intervention, to be honest with you.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I've always said to my friends and coworkers, the next job that I have after this job, that was my last job that I had.
And you've been working this genre for how long?
For over 15 years, I was working. There's a Japanese bank, and I always tell them, anytime I leave here, it would be for my own business. I had no intentions of working for someone else. Because like I said earlier, when I saw how the economy worked, I said, no, I can't be going to another job. That doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
So in 2014, my supervisor actually, and like I said, it was God intervention, because he heard me, and he said, you know what, I'm going to ruffle your feathers. So my manager, he started to pick at things that I've been doing, like a report that I was doing for 10 years. All of a sudden, it's late. You never handed it on time. And I'm like, there's no deadline for this report. So how all of a sudden?
Right.
But thank God that I saw the signs, because I had experience maybe like 10 or 15 years before that, where my feathers were ruffled. And when he took me to HR and wrote me up, I was on 3 months probation, the whole 9. And I said, Lord, you gotta hold me, because I gotta get through this, because I see what you're doing, that I need to start working on my business seriously. So I passed the probation. That was 2014. So I had 2 years to get myself together, and
Okay,
he
so you gave
allowed
yourself
it.
a timeline.
Yes. So he allowed my 2 years. I did what I had to do on the job, and attitude. I'm just gonna say this: attitude and strategy plays a big part in one's success.
Okay.
So I didn't show any anger or resentment of what he did or whatever. I was calm. Anytime he asked me for anything, I said, sure, no problem. That was my tagline.
Okay.
Sure, no problem.
Mm.
Meanwhile, what I was doing, I contacted the SBDC. I started looking for places where I can have offices. I started taking classes on, and at the time, the job that I had, they used to offer these free classes. So I took advantage of it.
Of course.
So I was taking these like marketing classes, how to do public speaking, how to set up systems for your business. So all of 2016 was like between 2015 2016, it was a total like education and starting putting certain things, start connecting
Yes.
to people, starting, what does a business plan look like? And SBDC, I was just telling a client of mine that they offered these services for free.
Okay.
So I took advantage of it.
Yes.
And the director, I met with him in person. And through all of that, what I noticed, like after the fact, I said, wait a minute, everything that I was doing for the business was working out. And I also test the waters by saying, you know what, I'm going to submit my resume, put my resume out there to see if I just, because fear sets in. It's like, oh my goodness, you're leaving, a stable job where you're getting a paycheck every 2 weeks and you're going to go out on your own.
Yes.
I was like, okay, you know what, let me put my resume on. That's not what I wanted,
Right.
but
you
just
want
in
to
case,
see,
just to see, do you know, no one called me?
Are you serious?
I'm dead. No one. And
Can you
I have
imagine if
over
you did that?
20 years of experience.
Wow.
I have
Isn't
2
it amazing?
degrees, and no one called me. But
Okay.
anything that I was doing for the business was working out.
Isn't that something?
So that was a sign from God right there.
Definitely a sign.
So in 2016, I did all of that, and I said, I cannot move. 2017 is not going to come, and I'm still here.
Yes.
And I put it out into the existence and made it happen.
That's amazing. Praise be to God. Okay.
And I gave him all the glory and the praise.
Always. He's the common denominator, bar none.
Yeah, exactly.
There's an old saying, let me see if I get this correctly. I think it says, lean not on thy own understanding. Because sometimes what happens is that when we use our own thinking, trying to figure it out, so to speak, when we should have some more equanimity, more calm, and understanding and prayer, amazing things happen.
Exactly. And that's taken from Proverbs 3, verse 5 and 6.
Look at you. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, so things, I left corporate in 2017, January 13, 2017, and it was the best decision that I made. And I basically had things in place, so it wasn't like, I was scrambling. Oh my goodness, I got fired, what am I going to do? I intentionally build these strategy blocks.
So you actually you plan things out.
Yes.
You didn't just arbitrarily just said, gosh, son, I'm going to leave this job, and you did something really cool too. You sent out your resume to see.
Yes.
You test the waters.
Test the waters.
Before,
Yep.
And then you found that, and again, that's part of the plan, right?
Exactly. Because I wanted to see where he wanted me to go.
Right.
I wanted to see where he wanted me to go.
Because I know you're saying something. I got these degrees. I've been in business for many, many years. How the heck can I get a response? But ultimately, I mean, here we are. You have a successful business, and you've been helping so many people in the community. You've got training programs going on, and at the end of this, I definitely want you to give your information in terms of how people can contact you, the training aspects of all of it, because I think it's very, very important. One of the things I was going to mention, which you also pretty touched on, there's an old thing or saying that they talk about when you are taking a leap of faith, and particularly going into a new job. People, what they say is like you burn the ships behind, because back in the colonial era, there was a time where, I don't know if it was the British or who it was, but they had challenges.
Yes.
They could not go back. They either go on the land and fight and perish, or you're going to be successful.
Successful, right?
So So what they did is they burnt their ships. So they were forced to
go.
win. So you, just to coin a phrase, you kind of burnt those ships in terms of you took the leap of faith. You put a plan of action in place. And so therefore you would probably encourage people, and this is another question I'm gonna ask you, what would you say to someone who wants to start their own business but are apprehensive about leaving a job because of job security?
I love that question because through my experience, I sort of can create that template for others. Take one step at a time. So the first thing is what I had to do is to find my passion, to find what it is that drives me, find what it is that wakes me up in the morning. I don't feel like going back in my bed to say, I don't want to be bothered, I don't want to go on the train.
Right.
Find that passion. And take one step at a time. So for me, it was taxes. I started in probably 90, I don't know what year it was, but over 20 something years ago. I took a class with H&R Block, and this will show you how far back I'm thinking of being on my own.
Yes.
I took a class with H&R Block not because to get paid or to, I wanted to be inside to see how they charge.
Okay.
I wanted to see how they advertise. I want to see how their systems are set up.
Okay.
So that when I'm doing this next year for my clients, I can know what that template looks like.
Yes.
So I have been running that template, and I just worked for them for one season, just one tax
That's all you
season.
needed.
That's all I needed.
Yeah.
So I saw how they market, I saw the discounts that they did, I saw how they attracted people, I saw how the pricing systems, the programs that they use, etc. So that gave me that template. And then what I did was people actually coming to me before I even, once I did that class, like, we've been doing my taxes. And I used to use TurboTax. And after a while, I realized TurboTax only allowed up to 10 people. I was like, oh my goodness, I can't do any more. And people, every season, I was getting more and more clients. So that's what I'm saying. Whatever it is that you choose to do, that you want to test, you can even test the waters. While you're not under pressure at your job to leave, test the waters and see how successful you would be in whatever area that you want to go into. Right. And then from there, I had to invest in a commercial program. So it's like, okay, I have a computer, I have to get a promotion. Now I can do any amount of taxes that I need to do. And by the time 2017 rolled around, and I wasn't really looking for clients, trust me, it was all on a referral basis when I was working. I didn't really have time to take on the whole gamut of marketing and because I was working a full-time job.
At the same time,
while I'm doing my part-time.
That's pretty a good strategy, being able to maintain your job, because you need to have your income.
Right.
It's substantiated and to be able to make your bills on time, so on and so forth. So you don't stress out.
Exactly.
Because I know some people who either they leave their jobs just for the sake of knowing that they have their own business. They did not do their diligence in terms of maybe demographics, or maybe finding out if there is a niche for that particular business, and they ended up folding. But
that's not wise. That's not wise. I always would encourage people to test the waters. I was just speaking to a young lady the other day with the same thing, and I said to her, just start. You like decorating? Just start. And I've encouraged a lot of my clients too, and I see today they're like branching out, so which is like, to God be the glory. I know this makes make me happy. She likes decorating. You know what? Okay, put your stuff together. Even if you do it for volunteer, you take pictures, you see what you do, put it on Instagram, put it on Facebook. You never know who is looking.
That's right.
She got clients.
Is that something?
And I'm like, and she still has her full-time job. So you work the business, and then you can, eventually, if you see that you're really into it, you're getting big, then you can say, you know what, it's time for me to leave this job.
And then I'm sure you also want to consider having a little nest egg, make sure that you
Yes.
have money in the bank and
Yes.
some backup money, emergency money just in case.
But I'm gonna tell you, doing the taxes for all of those years on the side, that was my like cushion fund, because for some reason, when I'm working the regular job, I couldn't build that cushion fund.
Wow.
It's like it was just like something always came up, and I'm like, but the template that they give us, like, work a good job and you'll be able to. I couldn't save money.
Is that something?
But with my little part-time business, I could save money to accomplish certain things that I need to do, or even take a vacation, or without having to put it on a credit card. So that in itself, it was a plus for financially.
That is awesome. That's why we appreciate you, and we appreciate the sisters because they deserve the credit, because these are the type of things that they've taken upon themselves to really take that leap of faith, to go out there and have passion for the products and services that they do have and that they want to share with people. And what's important, I think also, is ethics and morals.
Yes.
Ethics and morals, because that will carry you a long way.
Yes.
Oftentimes when people do get referrals, it's because the credibility of the
Yes.
person, the word of the person is well trusted and well established. And people, that's the situation. Sometimes they find it hard to find quality people, or people who are keep their word, as it will. And so those are really, really good tips. And I'm sure people who are watching right now are getting that aha moment and position themselves to do the same thing, because you've done it. You've passed on information to other people who are constantly or still doing it themselves, and that makes a tremendous difference in their believability and the fact that it can work. You just have to believe, and I'm sure you agree, have faith. Have to have faith,
Exactly.
and be steadfast and have the passion for what you do. Because I sincerely don't believe that a person would last that long or be that durable if it's something that they don't really resonate
They
with their
won't.
heart and they don't want to do.
They won't. I just want to add one more thing
Sure,
to that,
absolutely.
especially people of color. We have been in a system that was designed to keep us at a certain level. And for persons that think outside the box, they usually move farther. And one of the F words that usually grips us is the word fear. And what I did, for me personally, I replaced that word with the word faith. And the story of Abraham, I remember in 2017, 2016, the story of Abraham came very close to me. Because I said, you know what, we talk about faith, but we don't exercise faith.
Okay.
So I didn't know what I was getting into when I left corporate.
Okay.
But I said, Lord, you led me here, and you're going to take care of the rest. And that is exactly what he did. I mean, it's like the windows was just open, and it was just pour. And it's like, oh my goodness. When my mortgage is due, well, I usually pay it on the 15th. And it's due on the 15th. It's like 2 days before, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm short. 2 days before, somebody's, they owe me like $1,500. I'm like, thank you, Jesus.
Wow. Talk about timing.
Only God.
Isn't that
Only
something?
God. So from that experience, I have learned I don't deal with fear anymore. It's strictly faith.
Because you build on those experiences.
Yes.
I think of a scenario where, because I'm actually writing my second book, but one of the things that I talk about is when you have those challenges, I don't care if you were like younger or growing up, even in the present time where you've done something and things miraculously came your way, or you overcame those odds or those circumstances miraculously, or because of the faith that you have or the tenacity that you have, and what you do is you take those things off the shelf and bring it back and look at it.
Yep. I do that all
And
the
reference
time.
it, right?
Yes.
Look at it and say, I remember when.
Yes.
Man, I've been through this. Let me pull up this other data here that I went through. I went through a tremendous amount of hardship.
Yep.
And I was okay.
Yes.
Okay, so now that I've gotten that into me, into my soul, I'm putting it back and I'm moving forward.
Absolutely.
Using that as a
Absolutely. Yeah, I do that all the time. I do that all the time.
empowerment to
It
move
works.
forward.
It works.
Other question I have for you is this: are there any new personal or business tax laws we should know about? Because I know it's constantly changing. Is there anything that resonates with you right now that you can think of that's important?
You put on my glasses for
Wait,
this
listen,
one.
I'm keeping mine on. I attempted to take it off. I said, no, don't even try. Those sevens don't look like eights anymore.
Okay, because the brain sometimes is not, it's like you have all these things and then, you just sometimes get overwhelmed. And tax laws are always changing. Many of us, on the personal side, many of us have heard of the advanced child tax credit payments. And that credit is what they call, it's a refundable credit. You have non-refundable credits and you have refundable credits. So that credit is a refundable credit. So that's basically like what that means is that it's money in your hand,
Okay.
like quote unquote free money in your hand.
Okay.
So for each child that you have, you would get, if your AGI, which is your adjusted gross income, is at whatever that level, you can get that money on top of whatever money payments that you made into the IRS. You can get that plus, so your refund basically is bigger.
Okay.
So in 2021, for 2021 only, the child tax credit is fully refundable, and it increases from 2,000 to 3,600 for each child under the age of 6, and then for ages 6 to 17, it is $3,000.
Oh, wow.
So some people may have gotten, for those who have children within these age brackets, they may have gotten either $250, starting I think July 15th it was, or they have received $300.
Okay.
Now the thing is, this is an advancement.
So you have to pay back.
No. So what it is depending on how much you receive from July to this, because it runs to the December. So the difference when you file your tax return, the difference is what you will get. Now, the thing is, if your adjusted gross income for married filing jointly exceeds $150,000, and you had received this money, so it's a possibility that you have to end up paying it back.
I surmise most people don't make over $150,000.
Okay, and
so that's kind of a good thing.
Right. So, and it's different for people who are head of household, those who are single. So if your head of household is $112,500, so if you exceed your adjusted gross income exceeds that, then you have to pay back that money. But if you didn't, then that money you keep the money, and then if you didn't go over that 3,000 or the 3,600, then you would get the difference. So your payments that you receive minus the 3,000 or 3,006, that difference between those two numbers, you would get it added back to your for your tax return.
And this is 2021.
And this is 2021 this year. So when
I'm
you're
so
filing your 20
question because I know they change so often. So I kind of thought you'd have probably something to talk about.
Yes. So that is because a lot of people are like, oh, what's this? And some people may not want it, so you have the option to say I don't want it. Okay. So you can reach out to the IRS and have them retract or not give you those payments, because maybe at 2021 your adjusted gross income might be close to that amount, and then you're gonna have to end up paying back that money for whatever reason. So you do have the option to pay back those monies.
Well, I'm glad they give you those options.
Yes.
You should be able to position yourself to have those choices in itself.
Yes.
Now the earned income tax credit, is it? I know it's not like that in a sense, but can you talk a little bit about the earned income tax credit and who qualifies and how it actually works? How does that work?
Okay, so you have the child tax credit that I just mentioned, and then you have the earned income child tax credit. They're two different credits. So the earned income credit, you have to have a child, and there's like five what should I say? 5 things that you have to comply with in order to have that. So you have to have like the relationship test, the residency test. You have to have the income
relationship test.
Yeah, so that means that you have to be related to the child in some way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Some
so
way.
it has to be so it has to
legally.
be legally. Yes.
You can't just say this.
Yes, legally, because you have people who have foster care, foster kids, or stepchildren. So you just have to make sure, like, okay, if you're married to the person, you know, yes, it's your stepchild. If you adopted the person, then
you guys hear that?
Have the
you can't just
you can't just say
exactly.
And trust me, I have people who want to try to do that.
I can imagine, you know.
So yes. So once you meet those requirements and your income falls, and it's a range from say like $31,000 to $46,000 or $45,000. Once you fall in that range, and if you're below, and you have kids that meet those tests, that's what they call tests. You're able to get back monies on top of what your refund would be, and those numbers range from $1,500 and up, you know. So I think it's up to like $3,000 and change per child that you can get for as an earned income credit.
And this is based on a person working, is that
yes,
correct?
The person has to be working.
So it's interesting that I want to get clarity on that, because I know some people who have children and they're on public assistance.
Yes.
And they don't work, and I'm like, get a job, get something part-time so that you can qualify. So even if it's a temp work.
Yes,
so that you
absolutely.
can qualify for those.
Absolutely. You have to have earned income. You have to have earned income. So those are one of the tests. You have to be able to support the child, the relationship. You have to be a U.S. citizen. They have to have a valid social. So all of these things that you have to pretty much comply with. If you're not working, then you can't. You know, like you said, even as a part-time job, something. But just to let you know that there's some magical numbers that triggers one to have to maximize the credit. And those that would minimize the credit. So what I found is over the years that magical number is anywhere from, because the standard deduction changed for a single person to like 12,000. Head of household is 18. So the magical number is between like 17,000 to 21,000. You know, if you have kids that are in that age group. And this credit stops at age 16. Okay. So if the child turns 17, that's like the lull year.
That's like the cutoff. Right?
Yes. So once the child is 16, that's the last that you would have that credit. So those are so if you have income between those numbers, I would say, you know, between 15, 21 for the year, and you have kids, you would get back everything that they took out of your paycheck, plus you would get the credit for the kids, and you would maximize whatever credit. But
I mean, maybe some of you guys know sorry, but this is really some good stuff.
But I'm gonna tell you what I've told people before. Yes, your refund is $10,000, $15,000 a year. But I would always ask my clients, what do you prefer? Think about it. I mean, if you can't do it any better, but I always encourage to try to do better. What do you prefer? To get a $10,000, $15,000 check once a year from the IRS and you're living on $20,000 for the year? Or having a job that's paying you $75,000, $80,000, $100,000 a year? You can't save. You're always behind the 8 ball when you're on $20,000 just because you want to get a 10. And most times, I'm sorry.
That's a very good point.
We, as colored, we squander that money.
Listen, you just opened up Pandora's box. And that is an issue, and that's something that has been perpetuating, you know, our people of culture for a long time, and we have to get out of that type of mindset.
Yes. I've had a few clients that I bring that scenario to them.
That's a very good point.
You know, and they're like, they stop and think. They're like, you know what? You're right. That makes a lot of sense. Why am I going to be struggling all year just for a one-time large payment?
That's so, you know, people sometimes they think that way continuously, and it perpetuates itself. And instead of maybe using that as a stepping stone to ultimately
for that, right,
that type
role.
of a role. But bear in mind that when you do own a business, you have a lot of greater tax write-offs.
Benefits,
Right?
exactly,
Is that
exactly, exactly. So, as just to give you a comparison, employee versus independent contractor, or quote unquote owning your own business.
Mm-hmm.
As an employee, when you get paid, say for example you get paid $50,000 a year, your net is not $50,000 a year.
Sure.
You don't come home with $50,000. You come home with something probably like 30. So you're living on $30,000 for the whole year.
Yes.
And you're paying taxes on that 50,000 because they take out the taxes,
Yes.
and then what's left they give to you. As a business owner, you make $50,000 the same way, but the difference is all that money is yours, and whatever expenses that you have. So if you have to pay rent for your office space, you have advertising, you have somebody, you pay for office help, you have your utilities if you're in your home, and part of your utilities, you can
Yes.
take. You have a home and you have landscape, you can do that. All of these things you can now subtract from that $50,000, and what's left. So just for argument's sake, you had about $40,000 worth of expenses. What's left is $10,000. That's the number you pay taxes on. And if you're filing single, or if you're filing head of household, the standard deduction for single is $12,000. So right then and there, if you have 10 net for your business,
Yes.
that 12 is minus from the 10, which is a negative number. So you don't pay federal taxes.
See that?
But you
Yes.
do have to pay self-employment taxes.
Okay.
And what is self-employment taxes? It's your way of contributing to the Social Security system.
Yes.
So you'll be taxed at 15.3, I think it is, percent.
And there is a penalty for those who, as business owners, that don't report the taxes at the end of the year, right? Like
It all depends. It all depends.
how long can you actually go on without being penalized?
Because if your income, if you normally have, and you're referring to like the estimated payments that they make, right?
Yes.
So that depends, because that's not a rule of thumb for everyone. Everyone's situation is different. So if you're in business and your income, say for example, your income is that low, like 10, like at the end of the year it's 10 or 20, you are more than likely getting a refund. So you don't pay taxes on a refund.
Right.
You only pay taxes if you owe them. So you can, and I know I'm probably on TV or whatever streaming, but for the past 4 years, federal income taxes I have not paid because of this strategy.
Wow. Listen.
And when I was working,
Oh my God, get her information at the end of this program, okay? She has some great nuggets. I'm sorry, I'm excited about what
so like for when I was working in corporate, on an average for the year, they were taking out, including Social Security, was somewhere between $13,000 and $15,000 a year. I was paying in taxes, with state, federal, Social Security. I mean, I contributed to my 401k. That was a benefit, but in an average, and that money today, I'm actually saving that money, and I can use that money for other investments.
Yes.
So that is the benefit of that. And people would say, well, I don't have health care, or I don't. What I found out is when your income is that low, you can get free health care.
You still qualify.
Exactly.
You still qualify. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
exactly. So I don't worry about things like that.
I'm telling you what, you are raising some eyebrows right now as we speak, okay? So excited that you're here. You're really making a difference in people's lives in terms of the tax laws and how people should go about actually loopholing certain things that they don't even know about, but they can certainly reach out to you to get more information. We have a saying, because I'm part of an organization called the Powerful Pioneer Organization. We're like a resource of networking information within our own community. We share information as business professionals, and we help build and empower each other. Guys, again, you're here on blackstream.live, okay? I'm interviewing actually Vivian London Crooks, who is a tax expert of London taxes, right?
Yes,
she's sharing some really, really, really important information right now. We have a saying called, we title a woman who have children and works a mompreneur. A mompreneur.
I like that. I like that. Never heard that one before.
Mompreneur.
I like that.
So
I like that.
tell me, how is it difficult at times to mix your working with your child or children? How do you manage that?
That's a good question.
I was gonna leave without that question.
I mean, I have a 14-year-old. I have a 24-year-old and a 14-year-old. So the 14-year-old is still at home, and sometimes it's a challenge because of the passion of what I like to do. It sometimes interfere with that. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I need to really sharpen my skills, with that, and really incorporate him. So what I did was, I get him involved in the business.
Mm-hmm.
So I have him help me with certain like pulling statements off, for clients, downloading them. He's in charge of doing all my shredding because I have a lot of paper, so he's in charge of the shredding, and putting my folders together, tax time and stuff like. So I try to incorporate him into into the business, but the balance, because you have to be cooking, you have to be dealing with. I mean, he's 14, so homework is not too much, but I still have to be on him and make sure that he's doing the things. And then I'm a person that I'm very big into health, health and wellness. So I don't eat out, that often. You could count on my one hand how much I eat out. So I have to do my preparation of my foods in advance, so in bulks to freeze them, or if I'm doing salads, that's easy. But like my meat kind or whatever I have to do, I do those in bulk, so then I can able to manage my time properly. I was just telling a friend this morning on my walk, I put everything on my calendar, my devotion time of an alert, my exercise time, when I have to prep breakfast time, I have that all on my calendar because I will get lost, You get so consumed because it's like, I don't want to do. Sometimes I would go all day and realize I haven't eaten lunch.
Literally forget, right?
Literally, and I don't feel hungry, So I have to, in that balance. I know it's a challenge for a lot of moms.
And I'm sure your husband really supports you.
Yes, he does. He does.
So big up to the husbands,
He
right?
does. He does.
Mompreneurs.
Sometimes he be pushing me like, oh, why don't you get on Instagram, or why don't you do it? I'm like, brother, you know how much things are on my plate already. But he's a very good support. Very good
that's
support.
So important.
Yes.
Because that's something less that you have to deal with.
Yes.
Unfortunately, there's some people who are in relationships where their significant other does not
have the same
support
vision,
them, or have the same vision, or sometimes maybe feel they're not getting the attention that they should. It's funny because it kind of reminds me when I asked you that question about a mompreneur. Your business is almost like another child. It's like a sibling.
It is. And what I didn't realize, that I had to, and I guess for people who are with the bookkeeping, that they don't realize that they have to do the bookkeeping. I didn't realize. I'm now in charge of HR. I'm in charge of marketing. I'm in charge of the bookkeeping, and I was like,
all the hats.
What?
Yeah.
But I thank God for a friend of mine that introduced me to Master Networks and even the networking community. I belong to 4 networking groups, and they have given me such support, as in resources that I could, and even educational, like business educational tips on how you can organize your time, how you can track, how you can, it's like you're, and I'm pretty much, I like strategy, so they would give you things to help you be successful in your business. And I have utilized a few of those tools, and I have seen my numbers increase because of that. I'm going to be I met with a branding coach, and that's what he does. And I'm supposed to meet, I met with him earlier in the year, but because of my schedule, things but I had my marketing person reach out to him. So hopefully within a few weeks, I'll meet with him and see, how I can improve on and I'm excited, oh, how does this thing work, But you cannot do everything yourself, being able to have a team, and that's what I'm working on now, building teams so that you can strategically meet. Because that's how these big conglomerate
Of course.
companies do it.
Yes.
That's
yes,
what they
yes,
do.
yes,
They don't
yes.
do everything themselves.
You sure don't.
And one last thing I'm going to share is have an exit plan. If you have a business for yourself, how do you want to exit? Do you want to pass on your business to your children? Do you want to sell? Do you want to start a franchise?
Okay.
Those are like three options
Yeah.
as an exit plan.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of us go into business, we just under the hustling mode, like we got this, but we don't think about, okay, 30 years from now, I'm gonna be older. Do I want to be doing this?
Right.
So an exit strategy is key. As soon as you starting your business, what do you want it to look like?
So you look at your short term and your long term goals.
Absolutely. I did a class on that. And during this Master Networks, I took a seminar with one of the ladies. I did a class with, and that's how I was like, wow, I never thought of that before. So it's plan, and I like planning. So
Good. Well, listen, you're in the right business. That's for sure. Planning, because Lord knows we definitely need planning in our community, particularly. And you mentioned something about coming together, as a unified front of people. I say of like minds because we all are striving for success.
yes,
And success is very important, especially when you have people that support you in what you
yes,
do.
yes.
And no man is an island.
Nope.
Honestly, you can't
Nope.
do it by yourself. So why not be able to galvanize with other people of like mind to help build and then strategize and sustain your business? Now, you have a phenomenal program that is I just love it. You talk about a lot of subject matters. I want you to talk about that. I want you to talk about the program that you have in place. I'm not going to give the name. I want you to give the name and explain to us exactly what the purpose of it is for.
Okay, so the name of my program is the Millionaire Mindset Program. And what I have learned for the past, and I've been doing a lot of research and observing, especially within our community, that the mindset that we have a poor mindset. We don't have that abundance mindset. And that's because of our culture or surroundings, the template that was created for us. So within my program, we meet once a month. It's a free virtual workshop that I get experts to come in to speak on a financial topic. And I had you as one of my guests, last year talking about credit, because a lot of our young people, even older people, they have no idea. They screw up their credit, and then I hear it all the time from my husband. They come to buy a car, and their credit score is 400, 500. What are you going to do with that?
Right.
So educating our community on things like that. What's the importance of savings? The average black families, they don't even have a savings of $1,000.
Right.
How can you start saving even with the little that you make?
Yes.
Even if it's $10, $15 a month, start automatic savings. That's how I did over 20-something years ago.
Yes.
Automatic savings. We talk about investments. The next workshop that's coming up next month, this month, we're talking about retirement. Do you want to retire in style? So I have an expert that's coming in on that. And these are just eye openers for my audience to really think on, take a hold of your financial future. I had someone that come on with estate planning. I learned so much about wills, and I'm like, what? The whole dynamic. So this is a series, and I started this last year, September. So this month is a year that I'm doing this, and we speak about taxes, and I'm gonna do a little shift. I was speaking to my team, and they said tax time is coming up, so I'm gonna probably be speaking more along the lines of taxes, and doing more workshops and telling people what's out there, what's coming, what they can do to minimize their tax liability. So, but this program actually started as an in-person program.
Okay.
Because in 2019 I had 2 classes, and it was really for teenagers to young adults. And I had 2 great classes. It was so much fun. And the kids, they learn so much, because we do games, they interactions, etc. So that they can understand like what's the difference between a mortgage versus a rent. What is interest? What is the interest on your loan? What is that for? And so we discuss all of that. I give them scenarios. They answer the question. So it's an empowerment and knowledge-based type program to help the next generation not to make the mistakes that a lot of the adults are in right now.
That is sorely needed in our community.
Yes.
As you mentioned, I do credit. I'm a certified credit consultant, and those are some things that I found also. Some statistics talk about the fact that African Americans, we have the greatest buying power, or purchasing power.
Oh yeah.
Right? Over 1.3 going up to 1.4 trillion, as we're talking. But we have the worst credit.
I cringe. I cringe.
So certainly there is a dichotomy there between those two differences, and the only thing that we can do as financial experts or literacy advocates is share the information, and not everyone is going to gravitate towards it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But all we can do is all we can do.
Yes.
But we don't let that deter us. Is because our passion and our love for our community, and the fact that we want to position them in a better position, or we want our families to be positioned in a better position than we are now, because why not?
Exactly.
Our counterparts have done it.
Exactly.
And they're still doing it.
And they're still doing
and
it.
they're very unwavering in the way they systematize what they do. They started with the children at a very early age, right?
Yep.
The generational wealth pattern is still flowing. Not to mention the fact that chattel slavery had a lot to do with that, but that's a whole other subject. But we have to understand that we have the information out there.
Yes.
Take the opportunity to research, learn, read, be an autodidact,
That's
be
right.
a self-educator, so that you can learn and empower yourself. And I love the fact that you have a training in place because, especially for young folks,
Yes.
we want to make sure that they're in a position where they have a better life, a better lifestyle. Most often, I would believe, and I'm sure you concur, usually it's a behavior.
Yes.
It's a mindset. And like you said, we gotta break out of that mindset. There's so many people that we can, or those who are watching, you can reference to, who whatever adversities they've been through, they overcame it. I mean, you listen to Denzel Washington,
Yep.
you listen to Morgan Freeman,
Oh,
you
yeah.
listen to people even like Booker T. Washington, Frederick Douglass,
Oprah. Yeah.
I mean, they've been over some real hardships. And
Yep.
Tyler Perry.
Yep.
What is the difference between them and us in terms of that turnkey?
Like you just said a while ago, the
Right.
mindset.
The mindset,
The mindset.
the faith,
Yep.
the belief that they knew that their life could be better, and they were steadfast, and now they're paying it forward for those who don't have.
Exactly.
And this is exactly what you're doing.
Yep.
You
And
know?
just to give you a quick example of what happened in 2019, I went back home to the Virgin Islands, and I was helping my dad do some stuff, and the Spirit just dropped in my mind. You should visit the school that I went to, and see where they are. Like if they still have the same programs that when I was there.
Yes.
Lo and behold, they didn't.
They didn't.
They
Okay.
did not.
Thank
They
God.
didn't have. No, they didn't have that business
Oh, they
track.
didn't
Yeah,
advance,
they didn't
it's still
like
pretty
the
much the
accounting.
same.
When I was going to school, we had a business track and a college prep track.
Okay.
They don't have that anymore.
Oh, they don't
so
have
they
it anymore.
they removed it.
Why?
And I was same thing I
Find
said.
out.
So I said,
Find out why.
like what? So I said, I don't know. I mean, why? I know why, but politics.
Right.
But
Okay.
so what I said, you know what? Since I'm here on the island, I had my laptop. I had a few materials on me, and I said, let me go to the Staples, make some copies. And I asked permission because one of the ladies I know her, and I said, do you mind if I do a little? And I think the second day I talk about credit, can I just share, some financial literacy topics with the high schooler? She said, oh sure, no problem. So I volunteered and I did that, and that was 2019. Don't you know? Earlier this year, I got a call from the school You were at the school a few years ago doing some financial, and I just did it. And I was just only doing one day. They called me back the next. She called back the next day and said the kids really enjoyed what you shared with them. Can you come back the next day? And the next day is when I shared with them about credit cards and the credit history and all of that. And they were like, no, wait. They're like, what? She called me earlier this year, the the administrator of the school, and said, weren't you here that you did some workshop with our kids a couple of years? I said, yeah, I did. He said, you know what, we have some grant funding. And we would love for you to, teach a course on financial literacy.
Beautiful.
So that's how God moves. He knows your heart, and He knows, because I didn't expect anything. I wasn't doing it because there was any financial anything. It's just so worked out that, I was there and I made an impression. And, He opened that way for me. So I'm actually going to be starting a 9-week, session with them, for the fall. Thank you for the fall. And I'm so excited because it's like I am not. The beauty about it with my program, I can pick out certain things because I don't have to reinvent the wheel. And I can expose them to, because normally financial literacy is just telling you about you working a job, you paying the taxes, it's how you open a savings account. No, I go the next step. I teach them about that. That's the real world. But I also teach them that it's not just, that's not the only option you have. You have things like investing in the stocks. You have things like investing in real estate. You have things like starting your own business. So I'm there to introduce them to these other options than just what society has said that, oh, you just go to school and get that job and that's it. That's your only source of income. So if I can be that seed, that plant that information in their mind, and when they get older, they can. I am totally happy. I said, you know what? I have accomplished my task. I have done what you asked. I'm good.
That's beautiful. Listen, guys, we are here with Vivian London Fuchs, who is a tax expert for London taxes. Let me tell you something. She's not only sharing information about taxes, but she's sharing information about some spiritual empowerment as well. And we're really excited about you being here. I'm going to kind of close it out with a couple more questions. And listen, we could talk.
I know.
I mean, it's just, the information that you're sharing is so empowering, and I'm sure people are really appreciating it right now. And guys, I'll let you know exactly how you can find out more about Sisters Deserve Their Credit. Again, that's what we're here for. We're giving homage and respect and appreciation to the sisters who have been working so diligently, not only in their business, but in the community of their business to really empower the community itself. Okay. We talked about your show. Where do you draw the strength to keep you persevering in your personal and business life, especially during the pandemic?
Well, because of my faith in God, I mean, every morning I actually have, my husband and I, we have devotion between 5 and 5:30 in the morning. We have that devotion time where we would, read the scriptures, do a devotion, pray. So that faith base gives me the promises, because I'm doing a Bible study with some young people that I met through Zoom through the pandemic. And we created a Bible class, and so we meet on Tuesday nights, and we're studying the book of Proverbs. So that's why I could tell you that is taking
attempt to talk about it, you can break it down as part of the
and I would encourage anyone who needs that extra strength and the wisdom, please read Proverbs. Read Proverbs. All of the things that are happening in today's world and the bombardment that you have is right there in Proverbs. Getting that and another thing too, I don't really watch the news. I probably catch up with the news when my husband tells me, oh, this is happening. I didn't even know about the flooding till like somebody sent me some pictures, because I intentionally don't watch the news. Have a meditation time. Carve out that time in your day for meditation. So what I do, like in the mornings, I after devotion, I go to the nearby Rockland Lake Park, and I walk for an hour, and I have my conversations with him. I listen to him. Ideas come in my head. It's like, oh yes, this, and I also read. I have audiobooks, and I would read those also. So that's where, and for some reason, it's like sometimes my day is like it's much more fulfilling. As I have, and I accomplish more than me. If I don't do it, it's like I'm always feel like I'm behind the 8 ball. But for some reason, once I have give him that time first thing in the morning, it gives me that strength, and it's like things just work out. It's like, okay, things are happening right in succession, how they support. Right, exactly.
And that's where you kind of know that you're in the right path and the right rhythm of life.
Exactly.
And God is almost like it's like a filling station. You know, where you go to pay reverence and meditate, pray, to get that resurgence.
Exactly.
And especially in time of stress and striving. So we all, I think, need to do a matter of fact, statistically speaking, it's been stated that if you meditate or you pray, that not only alleviates a lot of stress, but also alleviates dis-ease, which
Yes,
is where
yes,
dis-ease
yes,
comes from.
yes, yes.
And it opens up the porthole
Yes.
to more things in your life, and also gratitude.
Exactly,
Gratitude
exactly.
also.
And I try to practice it as much as, like certain things that happen, I see negativity, I try not to surround
Listen,
myself
we're
with
human
negativity.
beings, you know, and
as much
sometimes
as
sometimes we can't get around it because it's either where we are, we just, you know, you can be in a train car and there's some stuff going on, you can't get out, so you just try to, you know, just have faith and know that you're gonna come out of it. But so long as we be steadfast, and I truly believe, and I resonate with what you're talking about, that you believe in God and you have faith and you pray, and not only pray for ourselves, but we pray for
yes,
others.
yes, yes.
Because we are, you know, this is humanity.
Humanity,
you know, we're all in this
absolutely,
together.
absolutely,
In essence,
absolutely.
you know, you certainly hit it right on the head. And with closing, please tell us about your business, how they can contact you, your training, anything that they need to know to be able to reach out to you, so they can maybe find out more information about, you know, how the services work, where you're located, do you virtual training or education. Give them your information, your website, you know,
Sure.
company name, Instagram.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm on Facebook, you know, so it's London's Tax Services, LLC, and the website is londenstaxservices.com. The London has a S at the end of it, and
okay.
Services has a S at the end of
Okay.
it. Some people put in London and then they don't reach. But everything is on my website. My contact number is 646-851-7264. You can either press 1 for taxes or 2 for bookkeeping, and I will get we can connect. The workshops, all the information on the workshops are on the website. So if you want to see what's coming up for this month and how you can register, it's on the website, londenstaxservices.com. And you can always shoot me an email. All my information is on the website. You can shoot me an email, and you know we can connect.
Beautiful.
Make an appointment. I have a calendar on the website. We
And
can
a
make an
very full
appointment.
calendar.
Yeah.
So get in where you're fitting, guys. You
Yes.
know, because listen, tax is right
Tax
around
around the corner.
Don't delay, don't procrastinate.
Yes.
You know, definitely reach out to Vivian London Crooks, who, as I mentioned before, she's a tax extraordinaire, London Tax. Appreciate you being here. We learned so much, had a good time, which I knew we were gonna have a good time because you're so altruistic and you're just very giving person and very intelligent too.
Thank you,
You
and
know?
thanks for having me. This was indeed a blessing. I really enjoyed it.
My pleasure.
Thank you for the opportunity.
My pleasure. No, thank you. Guys, we're here. Sisters deserve their credit. Why? Because they do. They're leading in the entrepreneurship of America. Women are leading the charge. Women of color, that is. Brothers are right behind you, okay? Don't
right.
sleep on us.
That's
We're
right.
doing our thing too. But we have to give props where props is due. And you are certainly a great example of mompreneurship and just being a pillar to youth community and what you've been sharing, whether it's youth, adults, go to, again, guys, Sisters Deserve Their Credit. We are Blackstream.live. We are closing out here. But before we do that, we would like to give Miss London a parting gift. Okay? We appreciate you.
Thank you.
We have something here from an incredible apparel company called It's called Millennium Z Alpha. We got you a nice tote bag here.
Oh, wow.
A special. It's a very
Thank
rare
you.
item. It says, what does it say? It says, ladies' rights.
Ladies' rights.
Ladies' rights, right?
Thank you. I much appreciate it.
Alpha. You can, use that when you're going maybe on vacation.
Yes,
or
yes.
Just
thank you.
People. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank
you're welcome.
you. Thank
you well
you.
deserve this party.
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate you for being here. Murray Allen, MC Credit Empowerment. Guys, you can reach me at 1-888-317-1702. We will have more programs with Sisters Deserve the Credit. Why? Because they simply do. We are actually signing out. Thank you so much for your time. God bless, and have you guys have yourself a